Alright, what's up guys? Nito here, and today I want to talk about the build that I've been playing in the Gauntlet League. So currently I'm level 86 Pathfinder, and I'm actually the rank 1 Pathfinder in all of the Gauntlet League, which is surprising because I have never done this well in Gauntlet before. And I have especially never done this well playing what I thought was going to be kind of a meme. This is actually a Caustic Arrow Poison Pathfinder Ballista build. The original plan was to do something like Scourge Arrow and like maybe mess around with like Scourge Arrow Ballistas or possibly even Toxic Rain, but I ended up leveling with Caustic Arrow, and right in Act 1 I kind of just like was messing around with it. I stuck a Caustic Arrow in a Ballista with a Ballista support and Volley support, and I realized that the AoE component of Caustic Arrow actually can overlap and shotgun on enemies when you have multiple projectiles. And basically the way it works is, so normally Caustic Arrow will leave a degen on the ground, and that's typically what people scale when they play Caustic Arrow. So they kind of ignore the hit component entirely because it's pretty low. So like it's only 64% of your base damage, so that's very low hit, right? But if you have extra projectiles and you're using something like Greater Volley support, all of the projectiles can essentially overlap their AoEs and all hit the same single target. So you actually get 5 times that damage by using Greater Volley. And then if you scale Poison, because this is a Chaos skill, you actually ignore the 21% less projectile damage on the Greater Volley support. So you kind of ignore that downside. Plus, because you're scaling Chaos damage over time for Poison, you're also kind of scaling the ground dot effect a little bit, although that's really not the focus of this build. So I was incredibly surprised to, see how well this was working. It was easily one of the smoothest leveling experiences I've had in Gauntlet before, just because the playstyle of dropping your ballistas and then kind of just running around while your ballistas just like off-screen everything was just a very smooth playstyle, and it made bossing really easy, especially because the damage was very surprisingly high. And going Pathfinder, you get Nature's Reprisal, which fully converts you to poison damage, or sorry, to chaos damage, gives you some more chaos damage, and then also gives you AoE for chaos skills, which is just going to help your additional projectiles overlap, right? Plus, if you're using, if you have Pierce, so like I'm using a penetrating arrow quiver, and I also have Pierce on my helmet, but really you only need one source of Pierce. You can actually hit the enemy with a projectile, it'll pierce the enemy, and then all the explosions will happen behind the enemy, and they'll get hit by all the explosions. So you can actually hit 6 times with 5 projectiles against a single target. So yeah, the damage has been just like really surprisingly excellent. Plus you get, Master Toxicist helps your clear by spreading the poisons around, and then you also get 20% chance to deal 100% more damage. And then Nature's Boon gives you reduced elemental damage taken, which of course is very important in Gauntlet because all of the enemies have extra fire, cold, and lightning damage. And then of course it also just gives you flash charges every second. And the other thing I was trying to do with this build is try to get the kind of like auto flask setup working using Ruby, Topaz, and Sapphire flasks, but unfortunately it's been very difficult to get the instilling orbs that I need in order to craft the correct trigger enchantment on the flask. So I haven't quite gotten that working yet, but I did manage to make it to level 86, very close to level 87 at the moment. Still alive, still rank 1 Pathfinder, which is pretty awesome. And I'm only at 4,500-ish life, and the only reason I'm staying alive is basically because of the playstyle of ballistas. You can kind of just drop them and kind of stay very far away from the enemy and be safe while your ballistas kind of do most of the work and tank some of the hits for you. And we're running Acro Phase Acro, we're running Wind Dancer, got some ailment immunity stuff, thick skin, and then more ailment immunity on the chest. Chance to avoid being frozen on the belt, so I'm freeze immune from that. Although until I had that set up, I was using Arctic armor. And yeah, I mean, I managed to craft this bow, which is pretty decent, because it has an elder base with the damage over time for poison mod on it, and a decent amount of physical damage, but it's really nothing special. And up until level 85, I was actually using a 4-link and a bow that I crafted at level 50. So it got me pretty far. So you really don't need that much gear to get this working. And then other than that, I just have like a little bit of damage, chaos damage over time multiplier on my gloves. And like the rest is pretty much just life and resistances everywhere. So and then, of course, the Pierce, like I mentioned. And then our 5-link is going to be Ballista Totem support, Caustic Arrow, Greater Volley, Withering Touch, and Vicious Projectiles. And then our 6th-link would probably be Unbound Ailments. Or maybe the whatever that sport is that adds chaos damage, I forget the name. But Withering Touch is very important because you're hitting so many times so quickly with all your ballistas that they're just stacking up withered very quickly on enemies and making them take a ton of extra chaos damage. So just because of that, the 4-link itself is very powerful. So anyways, I'll just show you a quick build or a quick map here. This is tier 7, which is the highest map I'm at currently, and it's got some more life on there, but it'll be okay. So you kind of just drop all your totems, you run around, dash, dodge, whatever. And then I also have a frenzy set up for stacking frenzy charges, and it has Hex Touch with Despair in it, so that we curse the enemies that we hit with frenzy. And that has been working pretty well. Have to be a little careful in this map because it's a Veritanian map. We have a lot of these extra projectiles flying around, but even so, like your totems tend to tank most of the initial hits while you're kind of dodging, and you can kind of focus mostly on just moving around and avoiding as many hits as possible.
I'm not up to that just yet.
And then I'm also running a Stone Golem just for some extra regen, as well as the Taunt. And again, just kind of like distract the enemy, basically. Cleared that mostly. In like situations like this, you can kind of just drop your totems, get way back, and they'll just kind of off-screen everything for you while you're very safe. And that's basically how I've been surviving this entire time. Those projectile mortars are kind of scary though. You have to be careful of those. But like, yeah, as you can see, like, see all of these like AoEs that overlap directly on the enemy, they stack up very quickly and deal quite a lot of damage, so. Oof, a lot of enemies. And this build has been actually very good for the expeditions because you can kind of juice the expeditions up quite a bit, and then again just kind of hide off screen while your totems take care of everything. And because you're dealing damage over time, it kind of bypasses a lot of the mechanics like ward and, you know, those shield guys that kind of block a lot of your damage from the front. So it makes it much easier to deal with some of the expedition mechanics. I'll just clear this out and then see what we got here. Talisman would be good. And
itching for me to lose another limb, are ya? Risky choice.
that, and then you just drop all your totems. And just hang out over here while they do all the work. And there it is. So if we get any good talismans out of this, probably not.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Alright, thank you. Oh geez, that's a lot of projectiles. Gotta be a little careful jumping into the middle of enemies like that. Hey, and there's level 87. 3 more to go till 90. Most bossing looks like this. You kind of just hang out off screen and let the totems do all the work. So yeah, anyways, there it is. Just wanted to showcase this build, and yeah, Poison Caustic Arrow is not completely a meme, actually, surprisingly. And you know, I don't even have Uber Lab yet, but I would probably take Nature's Adrenaline, so you get 20% attack speed and movement, 15% move speed, which is really nice. I don't have any cluster jewel setups or anything fancy going on here. Actually, I don't have any jewels at all on the tree at the moment. So yeah, I mean, I think I definitely want to revisit this in like a normal league and kind of juice it up and see how far I can push it. But yeah, I mean, like, even I don't even have like additional arrows or anything on my bow or quiver. I don't have a rain of splinters, which is another easy source of 2 additional arrows, and again, every single additional arrow is extra single target because they can all overlap, so there's a lot more potential damage you can squeeze out of a build like this, especially because it's only on a 5 link right now. So yeah, anyways, I've been pleasantly surprised with this build, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.